Namaste, angels. This is going to be a client reading, and it's for a client for whom I've never read before. This is actually another one that I meant to do, wanted to do, had every intention of doing last Saturday. And there's just been so much. I won't even go into it again. But we've definitely had some like losses among family members of the collective, and a lot of spiritual attack, and some were hospitalized and have undergone surgery. So my intentions were taken away, and basically exhausted. And I say exhausted in the most positive way. You know, I was used up in these other matters. And, you know, not that I don't feel bad about it, but that's what I was doing. So in any case, I'm back. I've been knocking out a bunch of readings, any remaining ones that I had between, you know, over the past couple days. So just about finished with the last few, and then I'm going to post the collective readings for the week. Excuse me. Yeah, I also had that ascension stuff going on a couple weeks, last week and the week before. I guess there's a remnant there. So in any case, I don't know anything about this client, but what she told me, which is that she is an Aries, just like about 4 days outside of the start date of Taurus. So not necessarily a Cuspian, but pretty close. And the masculine is Gemini. Both are my age, exact age. I'm actually a day older than the masculine. His birthday is on Flag Day. So here we go. With that said, here we go. I'm beginning with courting man. I'm going to do the 12-month forecast for them first, and then we'll get started with the other portion of the reading. Courting man and opening to work. So this card is very, if you're familiar with the tarot, Eight of Pentacles, like for me. It's about like what we put our attention toward, where we put our energy, where we put our work, you know, I say positive, but really where we put any of our energy is where we get our outcome, sort of in kind. So where we put our efforts as far as work, whether it's actual labor or it's karma related or both, is where we're going to get the outcome. This card also tied to earth signs for me. So maybe like in Taurus, like I said, the feminine is fairly close to being a Cuspian, or, you know, perhaps some would consider her a Cuspian. But primarily of the earth signs, it's more Capricorn for me. Somebody may have some Capricorn in their chart or feel somewhat restricted. Capricorn energy can come up, or Saturn energy can come up, where there's restriction, limitation, or at least a feeling of such, of being tied to something. Next to courting man, though, I think this is about putting effort into the relationship and, you know, what you want. And again, where you put your effort is where you're going to get your outcome, your positive outcome. In any case, those earth signs would be Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo is the three. Ooh, opening to short-term. It's like heartbreak, heartache, delay. This can be, you see the clock here, delay. It can be very temporary, you know, separation. It can be conflict, argument, right? Some sort of dispute or something that leaves you with a feeling of like time being suspended, limbo. It could be, yeah, he could be delayed in moving forward as a courting man, as it relates to, you know, increasing his efforts, as we saw with the first cards, courting man and union. Well, you know what? Slow and steady wins the race, you know, some might argue, okay? Courting man, I'll do one more. I probably should have quit while I was ahead, but I guess we need to see this. It is control. So there can be something. Now, this can be about us trying to control the situation. Not necessarily that we're being controlled by an outside force, you know, or person. It can be us trying to control the situation, us trying to fight divine time and make something happen within our time. You know, who, what, when, where, how. I also sometimes can tie this to signs like Aries, maybe even Scorpio, again, Capricorn. Now, Aries and Scorpio, because they're both ruled by Mars, which can be about aggression, and it can be that overbearing kind of energy, right? We all signs have positive traits and negative traits. That would definitely be like a negative trait, I guess, of those signs that are ruled by Mars. It can just be too much, just overbearing. This can also be that feeling of being tied to something, maybe like, again, work, or like you just feel like you need financial freedom. Don't we all? But you know what I mean? Like, like all you do is work. That can be something too. Here's the strings to, by which you're tied. Alternatively, I had opened to children, and this card is like an Empress feeling kind of card, major arcana card 3 from the tarot, which represents the planet Venus, rulers of the signs of Gemini, Libra, and Taurus. So, could be connected to the energy of both of you. And it's about new starts, like giving birth to new things, creations, right? New ideas. Wait a minute. And it's another party of 3. It is family. The whole year has an energy of 3 too, by the way. So 3's been, it seems pretty significant for a few of us for whom I've done this. Like these 3's have been popping up pretty regularly. And even when I'm done, like the length of their video, for example, I did one the other day and the 3 just kept on coming up. And when I uploaded her video, it was exactly 12 minutes and 21 seconds. And it was like another 3 and 3. But 3 is the universal energy for the year. 2019 equals 3. So it is going to be a year about, about us being creative in bringing about abundance for ourselves. Overall energy is past life, and I was shown that the children are behind the past life card, also upright. Okay, and there's that control, but it's upside down. So, there can be some control or attempt at control, perhaps from someone's children's other parent sometimes. Or the children themselves, especially if they're grown children, I mean, not kids, can often try to insert themselves and like take over as the parent, when you get older. And you're trying to have your life, and your grown children are sort of overbearing. That can be something too. All right, past life is the overall energy. It can mean many things, but let's see what the card suggests. Okay, January. Young male. So again, this could be somebody's child, but this could absolutely be the divine masculine too. And you might say, well, he doesn't consider himself young, or I don't consider him young necessarily. Because like I said, they're my age, and I if I saw young male, I wouldn't, or young female, I wouldn't necessarily associate it with me, except where I'm thinking of myself as it relates to being a Gemini. Because we are forever young. The mutable signs pretty much all are. But Geminis are just really, youthful people, even youthful looking often. And so this is definitely him. And this sort of free spirit energy, which is also pretty characteristic of Geminis. And also our sister air sign, Aquarius. Not sure if he has any of that in his chart, but this the freedom and blowing with the wind sort of kind of thing. So I like that. February. Gifts. And isn't that awesome, right? Everybody wants gifts, or at least, females tend to want some sort of acknowledgement or something in February, right? Valentine's Day and stuff like that. So the only time I didn't really care about Valentine's Day is when I was married. It's like, oh well, whatever. I see you every day. I can get a gift anytime. It's often special when you're, dating or something. So that's nice to see. March, I've been warning people about. Hasn't necessarily been so bad, but it's our first retrograde of the year, occurs in March. So, especially with somebody who is ruled by Mercury, we don't know what's going to be under here. Let's take a peek. Very nice. Okay, Mercury going well for us. New love, so like new starts, and maybe inspired by this fresh energy. We're beginning in January with this youthful, again, free-spirited energy, and then moving into gifts, and then there's no question, or no surprise why new love wouldn't follow. So yeah, new energy, fresh energy. And April, so the birthday girl. Work. This is getting reward again. This card for me is about where we put our efforts, where we put our work, where we put in the work is where we get an outcome. Especially after having seen this in the beginning, opposite the courting man a couple times, we saw that he is who was going to be increasing his effort toward what it is he wants. And now having this card show up next to young male, which I also said was connected to the energy of the divine masculine, it's beginning to tell a story of its own in this top row. And that's been happening actually with the readings. I first noticed it with the bottom row, and then the top, and now yesterday somebody's middle row too. And I had it told its own separate little beautiful story. All right, so on that note, May. Okay, too good to be true, huh? This isn't necessarily love triangle, but when this particular card, as it relates to three people, pops up, it's like there's a third energy that's in the way. So it can be a friend, it can be work, or someone at work in particular that's maybe causing you to have to work extra hours, you don't get to see each other. It can be that sort of thing. Something goes on in May about some kind of party of three. And likely tied to the masculine. June, birthday boy. And we have blonde female, which for me, this card in this deck is the representation of the divine feminine. Just always has been, with the red hair. So it's like a younger Queen of Wands, which represents in the tarot the divine feminine. She just came across like that. Anyway, it says blonde female. She's a redhead, obviously. So this is why. And I think it's nice to have blonde female showing up here next to new love and crossing gifts. And in the month of the masculine's birthday, this is like with whom he's going to want to spend his time in June. Maybe after having made a decision, like work or play. We're choosing to do some more play, to be more social, which is awesome. July. Very nice. And not surprising, following a card representing the divine feminine, especially during the masculine's birth month. I like your little spread so far. August. We're continuing. We're on a roll. Fun times. This is a very Three of Cups kind of energy. Could be celebratory. You guys could be, maybe particularly recognizing how you've stepped up your commitment. It deepened. September. travel. This could be literal, or it could be in recognition of your continued path forward, right? This is always forward movement. And for me, has a feel of like the Chariot card from the tarot, which represents the sign of Cancer, and is about movement, moving, travel, victory, like triumph over something too. October, courting man. We started with the young male, ending with the courting man, the work, and that was already connected to the courting man, and true love. So it's like you're putting more effort, getting the reward. You see how this row just told its own story? Now for this one, so far, the common theme is that there's two cards that have an energy of 3. This one's like the 3 of Cups, and this one maybe more a 3 of somewhere like a cross between Pentacles and Swords, maybe. November, which contrary to March has been good, and I've been expecting it to be good in general. And for pretty much everybody it has been. There was only like 1 or 2 where it was like, all right, that's okay. It wasn't horrible. But the year, the 2019 is, equivalent to 1119. And so, on 1119, I, and those who watch me and share with me, celebrate King Osiris this month, this year rather, 2018, or this past year, 2018. We also celebrated on that day the Prophet Muhammad. His birthday was celebrated around the world on that day. And so I'm just expecting November, because of all that energy in itself, to be awesome this year, particularly awesome this year. So let's see what you got. Ooh, gossip. Well, you got the March. Everybody's March, these legs should be reversed. However, this doesn't necessarily mean your November's not going to be good. There could be talk about this. When something's going really good for somebody, there usually is somebody else that's mad about it. So there could be that. This could be a sign of like conflict. Not serious conflict, minor conflict, like a 5 of Swords, 5 of Wands from the tarot. Can be actual gossip, can be drama. Which the only thing you're going to want to make sure is that you are not one who is partaking in gossip, because that can have, karmic ramifications. That tends to come back and bite people in the ass. Other than that, this doesn't mean a bad month, and I'll even pull another card for that month. And December, communication. So maybe if there is some sort of rift or something, we fix it. We clear it up by December. I will pull the next card though, which is this one that's upright, to see to what this might be associated. This gossip. Some sort of obstacle. Some sort of obstacle. Okay. Connected to what? A past love. So maybe this. Again, you see how each row seems to tell its own story. Party of 3. 3. Past love, obstacle. Now, past love can still be work. Like, remember we used to place work before me? That was your love. Something to which you're married. Tied. Which in the beginning of the reading for him was work. And the bottom, the story on the bottom is one of just continued forward movement. Just continued forward movement, growth, and progress. So I like seeing that for you. So some advice connected to this. Well, the masculine's getting Ice Queen. which is his energy as a Gemini, you know, as is this one. This is another one of our traits that we can be known as ice people, winter, air, swords, the element. The Ice Queen is a no-nonsense kind of person. She's very decisive. She is fair. She's like she can be a judge, a lawyer. She's that type of temperament. She's going to look at both sides, not just where her values maybe or ideologies may lie, but just, like despite what she may support as an individual, she's still going to consider other sides, and be as fair as possible. She also, as it relates to her life and who's in it and who's not, makes adjustments where necessary, where she feels like she just can't anymore and she no longer resonates with something, she will cut that off. And that'll be the end of it. But again, in being fair and equitable, she'll also add things on and make apologies and when she realizes, she's wrong, and accept responsibility and things like that. So if this is going to be the masculine's energy, this is a good one for him to have. Queen of Air, also sometimes one who, has like been hurt in the past. And so they have like a wall. They are a guarded person. That's why people say that they're like cold and detached. It can be because they are protective of the little emotions that we have. We're protective of them. Aries and Gemini, a very good combination, actually, outside of twin flames and divine unions, and just in general as it relates to the zodiac. There's a lot of divine unions. Like you look at the sun signs, and you'll say, like, well, what are you two doing together? Like, you do not, according to those, you would not belong together. Gemini and Aries are a legitimate combo, like all around. So she can be guarded and touched, but at the same time, the positive traits, or some more of the positive traits of the Ice Queen, especially if this is being like illustrative of Venus herself. Venus is the planet and goddess of love and abundance and money and beauty and popularity and confidence. So all things awesome. So if he has that energy, that's also very positive for him. And for you, something similar. It's another Venus-like card. It's Beauty Queen. I just said she's the goddess and planet of beauty, confidence, love, money, abundance in general. And so if you're having this kind of energy, and this is like Venus being tied to your fire too. She's clad in red shoes, red bustier, red lips, and she's very confident here. So this can be Venus's softer side too, as it relates to love and passion and just being a real go-getter for those things that she wants, like working toward true love. So you know what? I'm going to cut this one off here, and I'll be right back with the other part of your reading. We're still going to begin with these same cards, which will be Earth Connection. Maybe this is again, that Taurus that you're close to. Honeymoon, as it relates to the romance angels. And the Emperor, which is totally your energy as an Aries. The Emperor represents the planet Mars, again, ruler of Aries, where Mars is currently located at this moment, and Scorpio. All right, be right back.